Morning everybody. If you've been watching my videos a couple of days ago, you'd have seen us in the cemetery looking at a few graves, and I mentioned the 21st of March. It was an anniversary, so this is like the follow-up video to that. I don't know if you know, but the 21st of March 1918, one of the biggest battles of the First World War was fought. Not a lot of people know about it, and that's the anniversary today of this battle. I told you about some of my great-granddads the other day who died in it, and this is kind of a little follow-up to that, you know, what I was saying. So, yeah, basically, in 1918, the Russians collapsed, and it gave the Germans an opportunity to get millions of their soldiers that was fighting against the Russians, re-equip them, and move them over to France for one last battle against us. So that's what they did, but they didn't just come for a last battle. They came with new tactics, like they had camouflage on and cold skull helmets. They're modern helmets. First time they was carrying machine pistols and flamethrowers, new kinds of weapons what nobody had ever seen. And the tactics was stormtrooper, the very first stormtrooper tactics, what they used successfully 21 years later in World War II. So that's what the lads was up against that morning. They didn't know. Now what you're looking at now is a couple of years ago, it was the 100th anniversary of the remembrance of the Manchester Regiment. Now they was talking about the 16th Pals Battalion that died on Manchester Hill. My granddad Alfie Ryder wasn't in that, but he wasn't very far away. He was in the 2nd 6th Manchester Regiment. They was defending the very front line. So I'll tell you this little story, but first of all, let me tell you about this. Manchester Council had like a remembrance thing, and to be honest, I mean, I'm not knocking it. At least they remembered it, but they managed to turn it into like a multi-cult fest. So we went down, the family went down, and like basically you had a lot of you know, there was Chinese poets, African poets, the usual stuff. It was very multi-cult anyway. You know, so, and they did have some pictures up of a screen in proper Manchester, and they had all these like African kids and that reading out their words. A lot of them, there was a lot of poems there and everything from these parts. I'll show you anyway. You see, this is it, Manchester Cathedral. That was it. This is where they went. This is where they started. It's like Dad's army, isn't it? And this is where they got to. There you go. There's another one there. You see, yeah, Manchester Hill remembered. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, this is. I'll just flip through this and show you what it is. Manchester Hill remembered. You see, it was done by a performing arts thing. I mean, if to be honest, I thought they was probably given a load of money, £1 million or something, by the Manchester Council, and they probably thought, how can we make this as multicolour as possible? And so that's what they did, you know. And it was kind of an exposure for a lot of these poets and artists. I'm not knocking them; the poems are good, you know what I mean. And at least they tried. At least they did something. But yeah. So this is the 16th Battalion. So I'm not going to fraud you as much on that, because my great granddad wasn't in that. He was in the 2nd 6th. Let's see if I can see who's in it. Now these are the people. John Ellis was the artistic director. Stuart McCollum was the artistic director. Luke Flowers, Liam Frost, you know, all these people put it on. Rebecca Smith, she was the urban projections manager, was all there. Katie Chatburn, an artist director. Oh, she was lovely. What's her name? Seeming Toll. I think she sung a song there. She was singing a song there. I don't know who he is. Oh, Isaiah was there, yeah, Isaiah Hull. And there was a lot of these people, Young Identity, they was there, they was doing it. You know, at least they tried. Northern Voices, yeah, Young Identity artists, you know what I mean? She was there, I think. Roma Havers is a 23-year-old poet and performer. These, there, the Ignition Orchestra. They was good. These was the best. The Bands of the King Division. They was good. I like them. They should have been there, I think. Simi Singh, you know, just the usual types of these. I don't know what they are, these people who work for the council, but at least they put it on. And so, yeah, research with the Manchester histories. Anyway, we done that anyway, right? These are the poems, what they wrote. A lot of them seem to use, because a lot of the letters of the lads, they was talking about the fog, right? How the fog was shooting at them, and they kind of all use that in the poems. So I might try. Well, I did try something just afterwards, and I wrote my own little thing. I might even let you see it. Let you hear it later. Fog. There's another one. The Last Man. This is the kind of stuff, you know. Who's I don't know. Who's the poems? Yeah. Aftermath. There's quite a lot of these poems anyway. You know, they're quite good, some of them. You know. Anyway, I'll crack on. So this is a book about the great granddad's regiment. He was in the 2nd Sixth, but there was like sister battalions all in the same regiment. Not a rotter in the lot. You know, I wish I haven't got my picture of my great granddad here, or I'd put him up as well. These are 2 unidentified Manchester lads who served. Well, anyway, I'll crack on with what it was. This is what the commander of the British Army wrote that day. He was talking about what was he talking? Yeah, I'll just read it. As you can tell, I'm not very good at this. Field Marshal Haig, to the glorious, undying memory of the heroes of the 5th Army who gave their lives for Britain, 21st, 22nd of March 1918. We thank God upon every remembrance of you, lest we forget. On the shoulders of the officers and men of the 5th Army was thrown practically the whole burden of holding Ludendorff's powerful attack, one which was as carefully and ably organised in all its detail as it was weighty in its physical and material resource. The great and main blow was directed against 5th Army. 2 of Ludendorff's armies were employed in this task. Thus, the fate of France, Great Britain and Europe rested in the few men who composed 5th Army, who in perforce, scattered and unsupported, were worn and exhausted by strain and fatigue for nights and days in succession, yet still fought on against their numbers which tried to overwhelm their defence. So that was Haig. I think he was the commander of the army talking about it. It was quite serious. I'm surprised it's not as well known. But yeah. So basically, Alfie and that was there. They got to the front, and basically there was 1 battalion up and 2 back, and they used to take turns every day and swap over to go to the very front trench. And he was just unlucky that him and his mates was in the trench that day when they come over. Like I said, there was only 6-8 foot of visibility. There was a deep fog. They was very lucky, the Germans. There was a deep fog that came down that day, and you know, you couldn't see, like, you know what I mean. But there they are. It's just a little reminder of them anyway, you know what I mean. You just don't forget. And I wrote something. Let's see if you want to read it. It's called Where White Men Fall. Let's see. It's probably not as good as theirs. Right. That day the Grim Reaper gorged on a diet of souls, freed from smashed and disfigured bodies to make their way home for one last embrace of the life left behind. We shot at the fog, but the fog shot back. What lay inside of this insidious attack? A rifle, a machine gun, a pistol or grenade, a brass knuckle duster, a spiked club bayonet or spade, an obnoxious odour with an odd kind of smell, a red-hot sharp shard of shrapnel from an uninterested shell. All were obliged to obliterate so no one could tell, and all around them the white men fell. I don't know, some of theirs are really good, some of theirs, but at least you're getting to hear it in the right accent, because when they was all saying all these things, I mean, they just don't sound like us, they haven't got our accents. I know I've pretty much got my granddad's accent, my great-granddad's, because I knew his wife. She died when I was 4, you know, I can still remember her. So you do hear the words in I mean, I'll get some of their poems up. I'll read some of theirs. I don't know, they might, do you think they'll copyright me or something? I don't know. Okay, I think so. Where are theirs? Yeah, there they are, there they are. Billy. Fog, my mother's eyes. A divine fog licks the skin, a lovelessly leave burnt lips and fingers to lovelessly eclipse from the sky. Fog, my mother's eyes, with censored letters home, don't tell her about the blistered broken boy. Yeah. I mean, Alfred was he was in the second eight for Manchester's at Ypres in 1917, and he was gassed and that, and he was wounded, he was pretty badly wounded, and he came back home, and he won the military medal. That's what that MM is, in it. And he went back, and they had to amalgamate. There's that few of them left. They had to amalgamate it with the second six, and then that's who he died serving with. But yeah, the fog. They shot at the fog, and the fog shot back. Well, I just did this little video anyway to remember him. So I think we all should.